I stared at him blankly. Whatever remained of my natural eloquence clogged in my throat. Jason Grace had done what? Zeus had many children, which meant I had many half-brothers and half-sisters. Except for my twin Artemis, I'd never felt close to any of them. Certainly I'd never had a brother defend me in front of my father. My Olympian brethren were more likely to deflect Zeus's fury by yelling, "Apollo did it!" This young demigod had stood up for me. He'd had no reason to do so. He barely knew me. He'd risked his own life and faced the wrath of Zeus. My first thought was to scream, "Are you insane?" The more appropriate words came out of me. "Thank you." Jason took me by the shoulders, not out of anger or in a clinging way, but as a brother. "Promise me one thing. Whatever happens, when you get back to Olympus, when you're a god again, remember. Remember what it's like to be a human." A few weeks ago, I would have scoffed. Why would I want to remember any of this? At best, if I were lucky enough to reclaim my divine throne, I would recall this wretched experience like a scary B-movie that had finally ended. I would walk out of the cinema into the sunlight, thinking, "Phew, glad that's over." Now, however, I had some inkling of what Jason meant. I had learned a lot about the human frailty and human strength. I felt different towards mortals, having been one of them. If nothing else, it would provide me with some excellent inspiration for new song lyrics. I was reluctant to promise anything, though. I was already living under the curse of one broken oath. At Camp Half-Blood, I had rashly sworn on the river Styx not to use any of my archery or music skills until I was a god again. Then I had quickly reneged. Ever since, my skills had deteriorated. I was sure the vengeful spirit of the river Styx wasn't done with me. I could almost feel her scrawling at me from the underworld. "What right do you have to promise anything to anyone, Oathbreaker?" But now, how could I not try? It was the least I could do for the brave mortal who had stood up for me when no one else would. "I promise," I told Jason. "I'll try my best to remember my human experience, as long as you promise to tell Piper the truth about the prophecy." Jason patted my shoulders. "Don't worry. Speaking of which, the girls are probably waiting." "One more thing," I blurted out, "about Piper. It's just, you seem like such a good power couple. Did you really break up with her to make it easier for her to leave LA?" Jason stared at me with those azure eyes. "Did she tell you that?" "No," I admitted. "But Melly seemed, upset with her." Jason considered. "I'm okay with Melly blaming me. It's probably better." "Do you mean it's not true?" In Jason's eyes, I saw just a hint of desolation, like wildfire smoke, momentarily obliterating a blue sky. I remembered Medea's words. The truth was enough to break Jason Grace. "Piper didn't end it," he said quietly. "That was months ago, way before the burning of the maze. Now, come on, let's go find Caligula."